The Curse of Oak Island. A secret chamber in England boasts a mysterious link to the island. On last night's episode of The Curse of Oak Island, the team headed to England to investigate the links between Templar Knights and Oak Island, and the expedition did not disappoint. The guys found themselves examining the mysterious carvings of a secret chamber in an old English town before heading to the UK's National Archives to look over ancient documents, all of which pointed tantalizingly in the direction of Oak Island. As reported in the episode's preview, members of the Oak Island team had been persuaded by Templar Knight expert and author Gretchen Cornwall to travel to Royston Cave in England, where they would find a secret chamber that could prove the medieval knights had traveled to Oak Island 7 centuries ago. Marty and Alex Lagina were chosen to investigate, as they were considered the most skeptical about the Templar Knight connections. Historian Charles Barkhouse also tagged along to offer his expert opinion. At the Royston Cave, Gretchen brought several carvings to the guys' attention, but only one really stood out. It featured an engraving of a Christ-like figure on a cross that looked remarkably similar to the famous lead cross uncovered by Gary Drayton at Smith's Cove in 2017. Royston Cave carving mirrored Oak Island lead cross. Analysis of the lead cross has led the team to believe it originates from southern France, dates as far back as 1280, and may belong to the Templars. And the carving at Royston Cave resembled the lead cross quite closely, especially when comparing the leftward head tilt of the crucified figure featured on both. Also, the right arm of the cross on the carving and the lead cross are both shorter than the other arm. Alex also noticed the similarity between this carving and the ones found in the ancient Templar prison in Dum, France. The guys visited this prison in 2018 and learned that Templars had carved crosses into the walls while awaiting trial in 1307. Gretchen also pointed them to a date carved into the stone that read 1347, which was particularly intriguing because that is the same date written on Zena Halpern's map of Oak Island, which she believed was created by Templar Knights. Gretchen claimed this was proof the Templars had traveled to Oak Island that year and that this carving commemorated that voyage. So, were Marty and Alex cured of their Templar skepticism? Well, not quite, but they are certainly intrigued enough to believe it warrants further investigation. Oak Island team examines the UK National Archives for clues to the mystery. Marty, Alex, and Charles weren't quite finished with England. They then headed to the UK's National Archives in London, where they found some very interesting documents relating to Duc d'Anville and his expedition to Nova Scotia in 1746. The rather grandly named Admiral Jean-Baptiste Louis Frédéric de la Rochefoucauld de Roy, Duc d'Anville was the leader of an expedition that made war against the British in an attempt to bring the eastern Canadian seaboard under French control. The Oak Island team has long theorized that Duc d'Anville may have buried treasure on Oak Island, and now they saw British Navy documents that placed the Frenchman in the area of Oak Island months before his supposed first visit to the area. For over a decade, The Curse of Oak Island has captivated fans with its swirling mystery, cryptic clues, and relentless pursuit of buried treasure. As brothers Rick and Marty Lagina continue their quest to uncover what lies beneath Nova Scotia's enigmatic island, a tantalizing new development across the Atlantic may just blow the centuries-old mystery wide open. Deep beneath a crumbling estate in the English countryside, a secret chamber has been unearthed, one that appears to share striking similarities with Oak Island's own fabled underground features. This astonishing connection is more than coincidence. It could be the missing piece that ties Oak Island to a vast, hidden network of knowledge, wealth, and secrecy stretching all the way back to the Knights Templar. The discovery, it began quietly, almost by accident. In Wiltshire, England, an area steeped in ancient history and legend, construction workers renovating the centuries-old Ashcombe Manor made a startling discovery. While attempting to reinforce the foundations of the estate's west wing, they broke through a stone floor and revealed a hidden staircase spiraling down in, and what they uncovered was staggering. A concealed chamber carved directly into the bedrock, its walls adorned with ancient symbols, unfamiliar scripts, and a curious arrangement of cross-shaped carvings eerily similar to those found on Oak Island's infamous lead cross artifact. Even more intriguing was the chamber's layout, a central pit surrounded by 7 narrow tunnels leading outward like the spokes of a wheel. For fans of The Curse of Oak Island, the configuration sounded hauntingly familiar. And when carbon dating placed the chamber's construction somewhere between the late 12th and early 14th century, the Templar era, speculation exploded. Enter the Laginas. When word of the English discovery reached Rick and Marty Lagina, their reaction was swift. Accompanied by historian Charles Barkhouse and Templar expert Aaron Taylor, the team flew to England to examine the chamber firsthand. What they found there left them speechless. "The moment we stepped into that chamber," Rick said during a preview for the upcoming season, "we felt like we were standing in a mirror image of Oak Island. The craftsmanship, the symbols, the design, it all points to something we've suspected for years. This isn't just a local legend anymore. It's part of a much bigger story." For Marty Lagina, the discovery was a validation of their years of digging, both literally and metaphorically. "This is more than an archaeological find," he said. "It's a potential game changer. If this chamber was built by the same minds that engineered Oak Island's flood tunnels, then we may finally be able to crack the code." The Templar connection deepens. Back on Oak Island, much has been made of the possible connection to the Knights Templar. From Templar crosses and medieval artifacts to hidden manuscripts and Masonic symbols, the evidence has been tantalizing, though never definitive. But now, with this English chamber possibly serving as a blueprint or staging ground for what was later constructed in Nova Scotia, a new theory is emerging. Oak Island was not a one-off project. It was part of a coordinated global operation. Some theorists now propose that the Templars, after being persecuted and disbanded in 1307, fled across Europe and into the New World, leaving behind encrypted outposts designed to protect their secrets. If so, the Wiltshire Chamber may have been a final European stronghold, a sort of treasure map in stone, with Oak Island marked as the ultimate destination. Cryptic inscriptions and a new clue. Perhaps the most thrilling aspect of the English chamber is the presence of an inscription carved into the archway above the entrance. Written in what appears to be a mix of Latin and a now extinct cipher language, the phrase has defied full translation until now. Thanks to work by Oak Island's researchers and linguists from Oxford University, a partial translation was released in a recent episode. "The well of truth lies across the Western Sea, beneath the Star of Seven." To the team, this seemed like a clear reference to Oak Island's infamous Nolan's Cross, a series of boulders aligned in the shape of a cross, one of which features a star-like carving with 7 points. Could this be a clue planted centuries ago by someone who had never set foot on Nova Scotian soil, but knew exactly what lay buried beneath it? Implications for the hunt. Armed with new information and growing confidence, the Oak Island team is rethinking some of their excavation plans. Drilling locations once thought to be dead ends are being reassessed through the lens of the chamber's design. The concept of the spoke tunnels suggests that the money pit may not be a solitary vault, but part of a far larger, radiating structure. "We've been thinking vertically," said Charles Barkhouse. "This discovery forces us to think outward, laterally. The treasure might not be straight down. It might be spread across a subterranean network. That changes everything." Beyond treasure. A legacy unfolds, of course. The mystery of Oak Island has never been solely about gold and jewels. It's been about history, legacy, and the pursuit of truth. The English chamber has reignited that passion in both the team and the fans, not because it promises riches, but because it offers context. A glimpse into the minds of the ancient engineers who may have orchestrated one of the world's greatest secrets. For Rick Lagina, this is the most exciting phase yet. We've always said the island keeps its secrets, but maybe, just maybe, it's ready to reveal one. What's next? As the Lagina brothers continue their dual investigations, one on the windswept shores of Nova Scotia, the other beneath the green hills of England, viewers can expect a season full of jaw-dropping connections, breakthroughs, and twists. With the help of international experts, cutting-edge scanning technology, and some old-fashioned intuition, the Curse of Oak Island is more alive than ever.